never be divided! Students united will never be divided!
A group of student activists gathered in the quad at Cal State Fullerton University with posters and signs in protest of the budget cuts, tuition hikes, and furlough days. Within 10 minutes, a crowd gathered. Protesters included students, alumni, and faculty members who joined together with one common goal: to shout anger and passion about the school's economic turmoil that affected students and professors on campus. They marched their way around the quad and headed down to Langsdorff Hall toward Nutwood Avenue.
Education! When do we want it? Now! When do we want education? When do we want it? Now! When do we want education? When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Education! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Education! Now!
The demonstration made its way back to the quad, chanting phrases like, "They say cutbacks, we say fight back," and "Hell no to furlough." The group entered the Titan Student Union lobby, into the courtyard, and circled its way back around the school. We asked Tamara Khoury, a student group organizer, how this protest came to be.
It's just a group of students who are fed up with what's going on and they want it to stop. So it's not necessarily like somebody taking control of the demo. We're just all here because we're angry and we know how each other feels. So I don't know, I feel like people are going to be out here until they can't breathe. We played it for an hour, so some people are like, no, I want to be here all day, so more power to them.
The congregation also took stage of the Becker Amphitheater as the ASI was holding its fall fashion show. The group made their presence known and got their 15 seconds of fame on stage in front of the students attending the show. We also asked Joe Lopez, vice president of ASI, what he thought of the protests and its relations with ASI.
Okay, well, I know they came through here and did their thing up at our event. We had this event planned going on for a few weeks. I know this got organized during the week, but it's good that they're out here, joining together, making their voices heard, and are concerned about these issues and problems going on with the state budget cuts and everything going on with all the concerns with our campus. So I'm glad they're out here, and you don't see stuff like this on our campus. You don't see students gathering together in that sense of gathering community. So I'm glad you're out there doing this, and we still have our event going on. We still have a crowd out here as well. Yeah, I was at the event on Friday, actually, where they gathered at the coffee shop, and I heard that they're going to come out here and do this. So it's gathered a lot of people out here. The bookstore also has their event going on. It's their 50th anniversary. They have their students lining up here. They're handing out free gift cards to the bookstore. So there's a lot of people around this area. It's good to see students out here participating. So the first event was on Friday. So we were there. There was members of ASI, the executive staff there on Friday to hear those concerns, and Julie actually spoke at the event. There's members of ASI probably participating in this right now as well. So there are members participating as students, but as far as working together with them, there hasn't been anything collaborated yet.
At least not yet.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, we're here. We're students too, and I believe in one combined, united voice. So if we do get to work with them, we get to work with them. But we have our group Lobby Corps that focuses on advocacy for our students. So I think this would be a good Lobby Corps would be a good avenue for these students who have these concerns to have their voice be heard. I definitely think it could be a possibility. I mean, I think it needs to be mapped out and planned, and it could happen in the future. But right now, ASI is standing as ASI, and we're doing our thing. We have an event tomorrow night, the State of the State, where a lot of these issues are going to be brought up with professors within the political science department. There's members of the Elephant in the Room group that are going to be there as well. But I mean, we're fully aware of what they're doing, and they're aware of what we're doing. They came to our event today to show up. So, I mean, that's that. But as far as working together, there's nothing going on right now. But, in the future, if we can get one combined voice and one mission, you know, it could really bring the student voice out.
The crowd blazed through the quad and through the rest area of Mahalo Hall. "Students united will never be divided," shouted the protesters. The group came to a rest in front of the Humanities Social Sciences building and encircled around each other as a couple of activists shared comments and discrepancies about the economic crisis, and many students in the area gathered in closer to hear the speaker above the cheers.
13th of October, all of this working. How many of you guys are pissed off about the furlough week? Education! Educated at that point. Yes! Teaching! Many of us are trying to plan to teach it during that week. They don't want us to come to school. What do we tell them? Fuck them!
The protests raged on throughout the day, and students continued to voice their thoughts. Some students, psychology majors, commented on the protests and gave their own personal accounts of how the recent budget cuts affected them and their families.
I highly disagree with this whole furlough situation going on right now, and it's really hurting like me and a bunch of other fellow students around here with these budget raises, and the teachers I know aren't happy with the budget cuts, so I think it's perfectly acceptable and they should be doing something. I actually made around with them a little bit. It's like the legislative system of the school, and how they operate, like choosing different directors and stuff like that, and like who is in control of the budget, and if they can kind of like impeach like the current guy that's doing all this stuff to us right now.
What's his name? Reed?
Reed, I think, yeah.
I think it's good. My family's actually personally affected by this. My dad actually got fired from the school, being a professor for over 15 years. Wow. So I definitely think we need to do something about it. And this, it really starts, first of all, with the students and making a big impact. Because I've had many teachers who have said that they've talked to administration and not very, at the time when my teacher spoke, no one had actually said anything bad to furlough. So now having something out there in the open really says that we really don't want this. We are here for our education with a 23% raise, in fees and a 10% decrease in how much we're learning. It really doesn't add up to where we're coming. We want our education. People need their jobs, and this is the first step in going that direction. My dad has been, he actually went to school here, was teaching here for 15 years, was a part-time teacher, so he was one of the first people that got cut from the school when they started doing all they're not layoffs, but they're putting people on the back burners.
Do you think it's actually going to make a change?
Well, everything starts off at a small place. Everything has to trickle, just like throwing a rock into a big lake, right immediately it doesn't make a huge effect, but it's going to reach the outer layers. It's going to go reach the shores, and this is the first step to going in that direction.
I'm Isa Ghani, reporting for the Daily Titan. We just finished up at the protest in Cal State Fullerton. They are still marching. It's been an hour and a half. They're still marching around campus. We've talked to Joe Lopez, who is the vice president of ASI, about what he thinks about this. We talked to Tamara, who is one of the protesters and one of the organizers of the event, and somebody from Elephant in the Room. We've talked to students on campus about what they think. The protesters are actually meeting at 8:30 tonight to protest again, prepare for the next one. October 13th will be another protest, so stay tuned to dailytitan.com to hear more about that.